It was me. Should be good now. I mean, I knew it was me all along, but normally there is a button. I'm not gonna lie. There's normally a button at the top that says, "Do you want to record this?" And I say, "Yes."
Dude, I believe you. I believe you.
So have you done a bunch of podcasts? I know I've heard you on a podcast before, which is how I started following you. But have you done a bunch?
I've done 4,
Oh, okay.
5. I did Nine Fingers, Backcountry PA, Nomadic Outdoorsman, Craving Wild, and there was another one, and I cannot remember whose it was.
So I would not have suspected that I heard you on any of those other than Nine Fingers. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a chance that I listened to you on the Nomadic Outdoorsman. There's a chance, but I'm not 100% sure which one I listened to it on, honestly.
it would have been recent, like within the last 2 weeks.
Oh no, this would have been a while ago.
Then yeah, I would say probably Nine Fingers. He was
Probably,
like the
yeah.
first. He wasn't my first podcast, but he was the first one that was published.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that was it then. Maybe that was Dan. Okay, cool. Well, the reason I ask that is because some people are nervous and some people, are concerned that something might go a certain way. I don't really have an agenda. I think the main reason that I wanted to do this was I wanted to get to know the people as the people, and sort of like dig into you as a human, not like I'm trying to psychoanalyze you, just
Yeah,
like learn more about, who you are as a person, because everybody always talks about the deer. Like obviously,
dude.
your deer is outrageous and we will talk about it, but like who are you and how did you get here? And so that's kind of really, what I wanted to do with this show. So there may be a lot of non-hunting stuff we talk about.
Dude, I'm cool with it. And that's the one thing, like before with the other podcasts, like was about the deer, and that's fine. Trying to remember all the details
Oh
of,
yeah.
of dates and like that kind of got me worked up. But when you asked me, it was like a no brainer. Like, yeah, like I'm not like I had no sweat coming on here with you today because like
Awesome.
I know what like I've listened to your podcast. I know what you're about. I know how you go into talking with the people instead of just like,
Yeah.
oh, you shot a big deer. Congratulations. I
Yeah.
love my deer, don't get me wrong, but
Hell
damn,
yeah.
I'm sick of telling the fucking story.
Is it that's interesting that you say that because I haven't told like my whole story. I haven't told my whole story a ton of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say that I'm sick of it because I haven't told it.
Yes.
But I will say that I've told it enough that every time I've told it, there is either maybe one thing I told, like the dojo, and
Mm-hmm.
then forgot to include when I talked to the guys at the fall. And I'm like, man, that was kind of an important little nugget that I forgot to
Yeah.
include there. Um,
Yeah. No,
I,
and
I like to
it,
replay it in my head, which is
yeah,
different than telling the story.
yeah, it is, and it's different because it's for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I didn't have a good time doing any of those podcasts, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
when I replay it, it's for me. It's
Sure.
for me. It's my memory. It's that like you said, like it's the bond that we share
Oh, yeah.
with
For
that
sure.
deal. So
100%.
yeah, no,
Cool.
it's a breath of fresh air to talk about something other than just him.
Yeah. I know. I hear you. Um, I feel like a lot of people will get trapped and that becomes their identity. And Matt over at the dojo and I have talked a lot about how it's important that deer doesn't become his. Like he's really worried that deer, he doesn't want to even talk about it sometimes. He's like,
Yeah,
it's too huge. It's almost like it's too huge. Let's talk about something else, which is such a weird thing to think about.
yeah. And I mean, I flooded Instagram with pictures of him. You know, I would say probably the first month and a half.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, I posted it a lot, whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's time to just do something else.
Right.
Let's move on to more content, different content. Let's get ready for scouting. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to just live in his shadow. That's not what I want.
Right. Well, I think that's as good a time as any to jump right into it. Welcome, everybody, to episode 30 of Angel Road Outdoors, the podcast. I am your host, Brett, and I am joined tonight by Zack Johns, uh, Lone Bowhunter Chronicles on Instagram. Thanks for joining me, dude. I appreciate
Not
it.
a
It's kind of
problem.
short
Thanks for
notice.
having me. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
of course, my pleasure. So I like to get this right off the front. Let's just take a little bit of time and, or as long a time as you want, introduce yourself and tell people where they can follow you along, because most people will skip the last 90 seconds of a podcast and never hear it. So let's do it up front.
So my name is Zack Johns. I live in East Central Ohio. I'm about 30 minutes east of Columbus. I'm a union electrician by trade, but I just recently transitioned last August into the office. So now my title is project engineer. But I'm basically an assistant project manager. So that's what I do for work. I'm in the service small projects division, so I do anything from just bidding outlets to renovations, stuff like that.
Commercial or residential?
Commercial.
Well,
Everything's
okay.
commercial. Yep.
Okay. Nice.
So kind of the same not so much the same background you got, but we're both in the construction industry.
Yeah. Commercial construction for sure. Nice.
Yeah. So, um, like Brett said, I am Lone Bowhunter Chronicles on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook is just my name, Zack Johns. But that's more or less for the personal stuff. I don't really use Facebook a whole lot to post hunting content. Mostly just Instagram and TikTok right now.
Awesome. Well, listen, I know we sort of touched it in the beginning. I learned about you from another podcast, and I may not be able to remember which one it was at this exact moment in time. But it was a really fantastic story about a tremendous deer that you shot in 2023. And that is how I began following you. I learned that you are a very relatable guy, and you are a working class guy, and you're a hard worker, and you had a great story, and you do all the things that I long to do. You are seemingly a good person. You're a family man.
Yeah.
We all have shit, but
Yeah.
you are self-filming, which is amazing, and you're a hustler, and I love to see it, and I love to follow along. And we've sort of corresponded a little bit on Instagram and Facebook about just the similarities in the stories that we shared from last year. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to come on and get to know you as a person. So first of all, congratulations on an incredible 2023 and a beautiful deer.
Thank you.
I know you just said you're sick of telling the story. Could you tell people where they could go hear the story or see the video? If
Okay,
you'd like to.
yeah, it is on YouTube. If you just type in Ohio double drop time buck, you'll either get Josh Bomar or you'll get me.
Sweet.
And the picture, same thing. YouTube is Lone Bowhunter Chronicles. But yeah, so I'll touch on it a little bit. Obviously, I shot a double drop time buck from last year. So I'm looking at him now too. So I described him for Dan, so I'll kind of describe him for the people who haven't seen him yet. So he is a mainframe 10. And another thing I'll say too. So he's a mainframe 10 and he's 19 and a half inches wide. The reason I say that before I get farther is the night I shot him, I was FaceTiming my dad as I was gutting him. And he said, "How wide do you think he is?" And I was like, "I don't know." So I took the back of my elbow in a straight line in between his rack, and it was hovering about a quarter inch off of the tip of my finger.
Wow.
So as I'm doing that and I'm gutting him, I hear a tape measure get pulled out, and my dad is standing in the FaceTime from elbow to tip of finger. He's like, oh, it's about he's about 19 and a half. And sure as shit, that's what he was.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Um, so he's a mainframe 10. As you come around the main beams, obviously, like I said, he's got a double drop time. So he's got 6-inch drop times on each side. But right off his G2 is about halfway up on both sides. He has matching 3-inch kickers, flyers, kickers.
Yep.
And he also has one of his brow tines is 9 inches, and the other one is 7 and 7/8 inches.
God, that's incredible.
So a grand total of 184 and 7/8
Ooh, doggy.
through Buckmasters.
Damn. That's a hell of a buck, man. I forgot about the flyers till you just said that. Like I remember you talking about the brow tines. I remember you talking about the drops. I forgot about the flyers. It's such an incredible buck. It's such character. And and I can't remember if you said this before or not. Had you seen other deer of this genetic caliber in the area ever before?
So yes, and it was him.
Oh, okay.
Right. Well, so people ask me, do you have history with him? Yes, I do, and no, I don't.
Okay.
Last year, I hunted the property. I've been hunting this property for shit. Me and the landowner were trying to figure it out. So I became a union member in 20. My oldest was born in 2018. So that January is when I became, so 2018 is when I became a union member, and that's when I met the landowner. But it was like, I would say like a full year before he let me turkey hunt it. I think that spring, but I couldn't deer hunt it until the following fall. So it was like late 2018, 2019 is when I started hunting this place.
Okay.
But last year I went in, shot I think he was like, I want to say 120-inch, 2.5-year-old, whatever. So the same blind I shot him out of, a buddy of mine who I got permission to hunt the property that year, after I shot him, he called me and said, hey, dude, remember that buck with the tall brow tines we had last year that I missed? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I think that's the deer you shot. So my buddy missed him last year, or the year, yeah. So last year, 2022, and then I killed him 2023.
I'll be damn. So how many people hunt that property that you're talking about?
Just me now. Well, so it was me for the longest time. My buddy had some like tough go of properties.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, I was like, it's just me hunting out here. The landowner gun hunts.
Okay.
But when I say gun hunts, he just walks around with a shotgun during gun season. So, but so he goes, I got him permission last year. He kind of like had a rough season, said fuck it. I'm not done deer hunting, but I'm gonna put my priorities other places. So he kind of dropped out, and then that summer's when I started getting pictures of him, and then I wasn't letting, not me that wasn't letting, but like I didn't divulge any information either.
It's a weird thing that happens to us, because I get it. I felt that way before.
Yeah.
I feel that way sometimes about this program. I mean, Angel Road, if anybody ever drives around and looks at stuff, you can figure out exactly where we hunt.
Yeah.
And it's private, so it's not like you're going to get permission to hunt out there. It's a family thing, not my family, but it's a family owned property. So I get that. It's a weird thing where it's like, man, I have this trail camera picture. I want to share it for content, but then do I like black out the name of the camera because the name of the camera is indicative of where it's at on the property? And so you're like, why do we do that?
I think it's just like you don't want that opportunity taken from you by somebody who is not deserving of it. And I say that like everybody who hunts around me, that specific property isn't putting the work in that I am there.
Right.
Nobody like so like this year, like my dad lives in Tennessee. I got him permission to hunt. That's another story. We used to go out to Wyoming every year. The EHD hit bad out there.
Mm.
They didn't get drawn, yada yada. So I was like, just come up and hunt with me. But like even him, like he knew about the deer, but I took him out there one time before I shot him.
Yeah.
Like my own old man. It's just like one of those things, like by no means was he my deer.
Right.
But also I wasn't gonna let somebody else go in there and mess things up for me.
Right.
If I do it on my own, so be it.
It's like you went to the grocery store and you bought all the ingredients to make a cake, and you get home and you're in the process of mixing up all the ingredients to bake a cake, and you don't want someone else to come stick their dick in your cake mix.
Yeah, don't fucking put your dick in my cake, man. I don't want dick prints on my cake, man.
I mean, if anybody wants to take that, that could be quote of the year. Don't put your dick in my cake mix.
Yeah, what the fuck? But
Like,
so yeah, exactly. Like I think it would have hurt? No, because the landowner and his wife every day, it's like clockwork. At noon, I get trail camera pictures on them in the same bottom I shot them. It's like one of those things. Like this property, to me, is like I don't want to say the Mecca. I've had some good deer out there, but like I could go out there, walk the entire property, and go to my truck, put my stuff on, and then go back out and hunt and still see deer.
That's pretty sweet.
It's just one of those things. Like the landowner walks it every day. These deer, there's a working cattle farm right next to it. Like these deer aren't bothered by people.
That's very helpful.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like so I live in Ohio. We can bait here. It's what I've done for a long time. I had originally 2 cameras on this property. I could go in the bottom and dump a bag of corn, drive the 4-wheeler to the top, dump a bag of corn, and I'll have pictures of the deer in the bottom before I leave the top.
That's incredible. It's like they're watching you.
Exactly.
They know the noises. They know exactly what you're fixing to do.
Yeah.
That is super cool. I have heard stories. So our private property was owned by an elderly gentleman in his 90s. He would drive his tractor down to the pond, pick up all the apples that had fallen from the apple trees, and he would drive around the property. And he would he said he would say they would be sitting like in the thickets watching him throw the apples down for the deer.
Yep.
And by the time he had pulled away, they were already coming out to get him. And also his chainsaw. For some reason, when he was cutting wood, he would always tell us, when I was cutting with this chainsaw, the deer would come to the property. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if he was cutting down like, the tastiest maples for them to snack on or something. Who knows what he's up to? But it's interesting that the deer get so used to people that, what you might think is intrusion or ruining the property. They're just like, I know, I see this guy every day or every 2 weeks, whatever. No big deal.
Yeah. They are smart animals. I will not take, because I've got other properties that you step on a stick and you ain't seen the deer that evening.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like, but this property specifically is just, if I ever have the means, I already told him I want to buy it. Like, I want to buy your property. You can live in the house. I don't care. You can live there. I just want the property because it is just like for me, like I take at least 1 to 2 deer off of it every year. Buck and a doe, 2 does. It all depends. But like it's just one of those, like it just keeps producing. And it's a small 48-acre chunk with a 400-acre lease and a cattle farm surrounding it. And
a deer lease surrounding it?
Yeah.
400-acre deer lease around it. Wow.
And I didn't find out it was a lease until after I shot him and
wow.
the camera picture started pouring in.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. of guys that were hunting that lease or buddies. It was actually a buddy of one of the guys that leased it sent me trail camera pictures of it.
Hmm.
So
That's wild.
yeah, it's uh yeah, like I said, deer. This property is just like it's like home to me almost.
Do you hunt other properties other than that one in
Yeah.
and or around your place?
Yes. So
Okay.
that property is like 40 minutes away.
Okay.
So, but I've also got properties that are like 10, 15 minutes up the road.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm kind of diverse, but with him running around, my sole focus was that property.
We had one of those one time, and I don't know what happened to that deer. It's been a couple of years. No, you know what? I think this deer that we were all after for several years. I think I had him on camera in mid-September last year, and then haven't seen him since. And so I think he's gone. He's one of those deer that I would just love to know what happened to that deer.
Mhm.
And I would have thought that I would have heard. You know, I talked to some of the older neighbors and I just would have thought I would have heard something. But also, it's an old farm community and some old boys keep their mouths shut. So,
No,
for
so
them,
now I've heard you say it before, so I have not really given it away, but that's Hillsdale County, right?
that's Hillsdale. Yep.
Okay, so I used to live in Toledo. I think I
Okay.
told you that before.
Yeah. I think what you said was, I'm not from Toledo, but I lived
Yes,
in
you're
Toledo.
right. I'm not from there. Not fucking from there. Hell no. I used to live there. I spent more time across the border in like Temperance, Lambertville,
Yeah.
did it in Toledo.
Okay.
But I remember like my buddies and stuff that were from Michigan always talked about Hillsdale as like one of those kind of like ours. The one of the bigger counties around me is Licking County.
Yeah.
And just like that's what I've heard, kind of like Hillsdale's always had like that quality of deer in that
Yeah. I
area.
mean, it's a lot of ag, a lot of wood, timber blocks. There's a little bit of rolling terrain throughout Hillsdale, obviously Hillsdale.
Yeah,
Hillsdale and Jackson County are really, high ag,
yeah,
top producing, great soil. I mean,
mhm,
historically speaking, those are some great ones for sure. I'm not naive to the fact that we really fell ass backwards into an incredible property. And
yeah,
similarly, we have had discussions amongst ourselves like, if this property ever goes up for sale, do we try to buy it or
yeah,
take over? I'm assuming it's paid for and the trust pays for the I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but hell,
yeah.
I would hate to lose that property.
No, and dude, I'm with you. Like my landowner is retired, um, and it's like one of those things. Like you hate to say it, but like I'm always waiting for that text. It's like, hey, either we're selling or hey, I don't want nobody hunting here no more. And I don't think he will because like last year we took him for Christmas 2 cases of beer and and one of those like it's like the Christmas time you get like the sausage, the cheese, and the
Oh
cracker jack,
yeah.
and that's what we gave him for Christmas. But like also throughout the year too, like it wasn't the last time I went down there, but the time before that, like I'll text him like, "Hey, I'm coming down tomorrow. Do you need any deer meat?" Yeah, I could use some, or no, I don't. I'm good right now. Like it's kind of like the trade off is
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying I can do anything, but like I have run of the property.
Yeah.
He never said like, don't do this, don't do that. I drive my truck all the way back. Like I don't tear up his property, but like I am basically have free reign to do whatever.
Again, the similarity is remarkable with what we have the opportunity to do as well, man. It's a real blessing. Um, I wanted to ask you specifically though about um Lone Bowhunter Chronicles, the
Yeah.
name specifically. What so it implies to me that you are a person who likes to go out and seek adventure, but maybe do it by himself. And is that where it comes from, or is it just? I mean, it's got a great ring to it, but tell me a little bit about Lone Bowhunter.
dude. I am the loneliest bow hunter you ever met.
Okay. I
I
didn't
am
put that together, but I gotcha.
so like it is one of those things. Like I have done everything by myself for the last. I mean, since basically I graduated from having to hunt with dad to little brother's hunting with him. Now I'm on my own. Like I have. It's seldom. I used to. It's seldom that I hunt with somebody
Okay.
or even hunt with somebody on the same property. Like the night I shot him, I shot him at 6:30 in the evening, and I didn't leave that property until like 10 o'clock. And that's 40 minutes from home. Like it's just one of those things. Like I have always been just like a loner, I
By
guess.
choice or just by circumstance?
A little bit of both, honestly. Like I guess it was just one of those things. Like fuck it, I'll do it myself.
I
Like I'm
feel
the one out there hanging the tree stands. I'm the one out there putting corn out. I'm the one swapping batteries and trail cameras. Like for a long time, that's how it was. And like to nobody's fault, I just didn't ask because I didn't want to have to rely on somebody to do it with me. So I said, fuck it, I'll just do it myself. So that's kind of like where that little Lone Bow Hunter Chronicles thing came from. And it's kind of like one of those like it's stuck.
yeah, it's good. I mean, I like it a lot. So, but when you refer to yourself as the loneliest bow hunter, which is like the saddest kids book I've ever heard of in my life, which there's a freebie that I'm full of great ideas. I got bad ideas too, but that's a good one. You could write a kids book series called The Loneliest Bow Hunter.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. You ain't
Um,
wrong. But and I don't mean that in a negative way.
that's what I was going to ask. Like, do you long for that connection, or are you totally content with what you're doing?
I'm content with it. I have no issues. And like I said, like my dad like came up this year and hunted with me and stuff like that. So like I still get out with people,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I'm also not gonna like not go out because oh man, you know, Jimmy can't hunt today, so neither can I. No, fuck that.
Uncle Randy's going to a soccer game, so I'm
Yeah,
not going hunting.
no, I'm still gonna do it. I'm
Cool.
still gonna do it. I'm gonna go out. Like I said, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Is like I just learned to adapt to like down to the smallest things, like gutting the deer by yourself, which is I've
Mhm.
done it for years. But like doing that, having to drag it out, load it in the truck, like all those things. Like I just been doing it by myself for years. So why not just say lone bow hunter? That's what I am.
That's one of those questions that I get a lot is how the hell did you get that buck in the back of your truck? And it's because a lot of people are used to like, okay, there's three dudes here, everybody grab a leg or
Yep.
two, and then
Yep.
let's lump them up in there. And then when you're like, yeah, I was by myself, and like, how did you get that massive deer in the back of your truck by yourself? Like a
Yep.
little reverse engineering. That's all.
Yeah. Like, and like I'm like that in life too. Like
Yeah.
I don't. I'll find a way. Like whether I'm moving a fucking couch or loading a deer or like I'm building an office by myself. Like I'll find a way. Don't worry about it. Like I'll
Where
find a
does that
way.
come from? Where did that start? How did that start with you? I'm the
Dude,
same way, but where did it start?
my old man, he's the
Really?
same way.
Okay.
Like that dude lives in Tennessee and is building a whole lean-to on the back of his barn by himself. Like it's just one of those things. Like that's how we've always been. Like we're not going to rely on somebody else to do it for us or rely on. You've got so many people are flaky.
Yeah.
They ask you for help, you help them, and they don't help you back. Whatever. Like that's fine. But I don't. If I ask for help, I really need it.
Yeah.
So if not, fuck it. I'll just
And you
do it
know
on my own.
what I've noticed about myself recently is that I'll ask one time, I
Yeah,
won't ask a second time. And
exactly.
again, it's not like I get that everybody's got their own shit, and I have a bizarre amount of freedom and free time, which some people might think you must not have a job, but I do. But I can work whenever I want, as much as I want, or as little as I want, as long as I get my shit done. And so I will ask one time. I get people are busy, and I just do it. And there's when I was a superintendent, and I would have to travel to different states to build these restaurants. Um, I was not given a crew of guys to do a particular task. It was you do this, and then if you do this, you get a bonus at the end of every job. So I figured out a way to utilize tools that were at my disposal to get the job done. And I think that's translated throughout my entire adult life, which
Yep.
is an amazing skill. I'm not tooting my own horn, but maybe I am. Like, if you can just get shit done using by whatever means you have, it's really going to help you in a lot of aspects of your lives, and not being so reliant on everybody or everything. It's just, there's my little nugget of wisdom for the day.
And I get that, dude. Like, I am so like want to do everything myself that I tune my own bows. I from basically from start to finish. Like, I'll get a bow from the shop, bring it home, throw it in the press, and I'm either swapping strings, I'm tuning it, I'm building arrows. I've got an arrow saw. It's one of those things. It's like at the end, it's more rewarding.
It's the process. You
Dude,
love the whole process.
that is like my mantra in life is it's the process. There's
Oh,
a there's a process, and at the end of the day, when I shot him with, because I've got his arrow, the arrow I shot him with in his rack. Like, I can look at that arrow and be like, I remember that thing sitting in my quiver. I remember when maybe not so much when I fletched that exact arrow, but I remember when I fletched that dozen arrows. I remember when I cut that dozen arrows. I remember when I paper tuned that bow that I shot him with. I was so comfortable with that bow because I built it myself through the process.
those are all the ingredients in that cake mix that we were talking about.
Dude, yeah.
Anybody messes with your ingredients, it taints the cake, man. And like, that's, again, these people those of us who are obsessed with this. We eat, sleep, breathe, and we live for the adventure, the outdoors. It's, although I'm not really great at documenting the whole process or my whole story, it's in here, and it's always going to be here for as long as I have my marbles. That process, the whole thing, is what it's all about. Because
Yep.
it's such a small fraction. Like, the 30 minutes that I sat with him in the woods, and you thank him, and you just stare at him, and you are just living in the moment. That's a flash, man, compared to the sleepless nights tossing and turning in the back of your truck in a Walmart parking lot, or
Yeah.
the arguments with your wife about being able to leave at a certain time and how you missed something. That
Yep.
that whole story is what I personally live for. And it sounds like you're sort of the same way.
Dude, I know you're a little bit older than me, but like, are we twins? Do you want to go do karate in the garage?
I
Like,
do.
it's
Hell
it's
yeah.
it's crazy. Like, and I'm the same way. Like, I like to see the whole picture after everything's done. It's like a panorama of from start to finish of, like you said, like to now where he's hanging on the wall. Like, it's just a giant memory that I get to keep. And like, when I shot him and documented it with the camera, like, I didn't document every little bit, but I remember when I went out there to put a blind up the day after I got pictures of him, and I got a 5 foot like tower blind platform, put a ground blind on top. I remember dumping that platform onto the ground into a nest of ground bees and getting stung. Like, that is like, that sucked, but guess what? That was all part of it.
All part of it, man. For
All
real.
part of it. But yeah, no, you and I are very, it's crazy,
Sounds like
very
it.
similar.
You also just mentioned, sorry, I burped there. You mentioned that you're building something in the barn. And I've been following along. I've been watching. I'm very impressed. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on there. What kind of project is that?
So basically, it is just like, I've always had a place that I could go to, like, after the kids go to bed. And when we moved into this place, it's kind of like a weird, basically we live in my in-laws basement, but they actually asked us to move here. We bought a house, we rent it out right now, but like we live in their basement with our 3 kids. And but like I have this 40 by 60 pole barn that I can come into and I can do stuff, but like at the same time, like I said, I've always had somewhere that is mine. In our other house, I built an office in the basement. In the house before that, I had an office in the basement. Like it's just one of those things. Like so, I just it took me a minute to build up the courage to ask if I could build like an office
Sure.
in here,
Yeah.
just for them to be like, "Yeah, we don't give a shit." Like fuck. Like I was expecting to have to like pour out my heart and all this, and they're like, oh, "We
Yeah,
don't give a fuck."
that's awesome.
But no, so I'm building that for my my area. It's for me. It's gonna have the couch that I'm sitting on. It's a pull out couch, but like not only is it an office, but it's also I call it my office slash bunkhouse.
Okay.
And because like just through social media and stuff, I've met so many just cool dudes from out of state who travel to Ohio to hunt.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, instead of them paying for a place to stay or a hotel or, in the middle of December sleeping in the bed of their trucks, like, no, dude. Like if I know you and I've vetted you, fucking come stay here.
Oh, that's really awesome.
So and I like behind me is a bathroom and a shower.
Okay.
And then my office is over there and it's insulated and it's heated and like so like it's kind of dual purpose. And like
That's
I've already
great.
talked to like the in-laws and they know like I've already talked to them and asked like they're cool with me having people here. So long it's not just some fucking Joe Schmo off the street asking to stay here, but like I've got a gambrel hanging up in the ceiling on an electric winch. Like we can do everything here.
Yeah,
You can shoot a deer, cut it up, take a shit, take a shower, and go to bed.
that's a beautiful
All
thing right there.
without even leaving the 4 walls of this barn.
They just don't want some dude at 2 a.m. who's hammered drunk running naked through the backyard.
No, fuck no.
Right. That's the vetting process that you're gonna have to send them through.
Yeah,
Totally get it. Makes a
yeah.
lot of sense.
But so like that was kind of, but also like I'm starting to get more into the filming and photography stuff at that next level is where I want to go.
Right.
So that is kind of going to be like my studio as well. So like if I want to film something or film interviews or I've got an area in there that I can close the door, nothing else is in there, and I can take pictures, videos, fucking sit in there butt naked if I wanted to.
So that was so not the naked part, but that was my assumption on what it was going to be is that you had some sort of a studio in mind.
Yep.
Or I know again, I did all this stuff with your bow and your tuning
Yep.
and arrows. I thought maybe you were going to be doing some content creation, maybe for some brands in there.
And that's kind of, yeah, more or less. Maybe for some brands, like I said, I just graduated from a camcorder to like a DSLR mirrorless thing. So I'm just taking baby steps, but that is
Yeah.
the ultimate goal is to kind of like eventually do it as like a side business.
Right. So, but you do have some partnerships with other brands. Like there are brands that you work with, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so, I had Nick, Lethal Nick on who
Oh, dude, I love that dude.
yeah. And so I like as far as I know, he's doing that as like a side hustle or like one of his many hustles.
Yeah.
Is kind of what you're hoping to do as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
I want something that's gonna like I want something out of the realm of like construction. Like being an electrician, I've done side jobs. Fucking done. I'm done. I'm done doing side jobs. But like I want something that is for me as well. Like I love being in the outdoors. I realized from a young age that I've always liked to take pictures or videos and stuff like that. So like I have just kind of like morphed that into me wanting to do it more and to that next level. And I'm not saying by any means I'm there yet, but like that is basically the end goal of this office is to kind of force me into that next level.
Yeah. Well, the only way you're going to get there is by literally taking that first step. And so that's awesome that you've taken that first step and I look forward to following along on that journey. I think that's really great. So, as far as brands are concerned, how did you how did you find yourself in a position where you would even begin to think about partnering with a brand? Like what like as when did you start hunting? Like at what point did you realize this was an opportunity or a possibility? And then how did you navigate that initial
Um,
discussion with somebody?
so like it kind of started back like I would say like 2012.
Okay. So
We had like
for a while.
so we had an outdoors team. It's Heartbeat Outdoors.
Okay.
And like so then I was kind of like that kind of falls back to the lone bow hunter thing. Like there was other people involved, like my dad and my brother and stuff, but like I was the one spearheading the whole thing. I was the one posting it. Every once in a while they throw some pictures up on there or other guys like buddies and stuff, but it just started then. Like I was always reaching out to people like, hey, do you guys sponsor anybody and stuff like that? And then it kind of developed and now I'm with I the coolest one is XOP
Okay.
because I didn't reach out to XOP. I was posting some content with their stuff. And his their he's got like many hats, but basically the guy what is his partner development? His name's Tom Lalonde.
Okay.
Um out of nowhere, I get like this random comment on one of my Instagram posts that had XOP in it. And I said, I'm not partnered with XOP or I'm not affiliated or partnered, but I run their gear. And it was up for like a couple weeks. And then like I get this random comment. It was like, hey, I'm with XOP. Let's talk. Like
All
I
right.
didn't reach out. They did, or he
Very
did.
cool.
So then, and then um I started running. I hunted with the whole season with all XOP products. Shot him out of an XOP. Like it was just one of those things that like it just aligned
Yeah.
perfect because I knew when I got pictures of him, I wasn't hunting over a corn pile like I'm used to. Like and that totally like I had to like have a whole completely different mindset. Like to the point where like I'm like I need to up my woodsmanship.
Right.
I know this isn't the question, but like that's kind of like one of those things like having pictures of him knowing that I wasn't going to shoot him over a corn pile because that's not what you do with deer of this caliber. So I was like, I got to do something different. And then rolled into me just going out boots on the ground scouting and like just trying to like I listened to a lot of Justin Hollinsworth, Heath Cisco, the DeQuistos, Cody Andre, Glitsky. I mean, you name like them mobile hunter dudes, I was in that
Oh yeah.
space. Well, I was in they was in my ears because I was listening to
Yeah.
podcasts.
For sure.
Um, but to go back to your point, like it was just one of those things. Like I kind of like realized that there's a chance that if I get I take some quality videos and pictures with these products, like there's a chance that other people can see it.
Yeah.
Not even like XOP or whatever, but they see, hey man, you're taking really nice pictures or videos, like Bow Company A or Broadheads or whatever. Like one of those things you could fall into something just by taking pictures and doing cool shit.
Yeah. So realistically speaking, there's a lot of people. I almost fell out of my damn chair here. There's a lot of people that are really hoping to get into the outdoor space.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be amazing if I could retire from construction and somehow work in the outdoor space. I don't think that's going to happen. Nonetheless, we will dabble. And so, those of you who may find yourself wanting to getting into the outdoor space, I think more often than not, people are telling you be authentic in
Yep.
what you are doing, allow it to take as much time as it needs. It could happen organically. It could also never happen. But if at least if you're authentic, it will come across that way and people will
Yeah.
be far more relatable to you if instead of you trying to shove shit down everybody's throat, which
Yeah.
that happens a lot, man.
Yeah.
You know it, you see it.
and that's, and like you said, like being authentic, that I'm trying to like not make my shit like gimmicky.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to, but at the same time, like the brands that are helping me, I want to help them too. So I'm gonna, maybe post more pictures and videos of their stuff, but at the same time, like I'm also not like, buy this tree stand because I shot this deer out of it, or look at this trail camera because I got this picture, this deer on it. Like I don't want that. I don't want gimmick. I want, like you said, authenticity. And that's what Tom from XOP told me. He's like, just keep doing what you're doing. He's like, don't change it. Literally just keep doing what you're doing now. Just sprinkle some more XOP shit in there, or tag us in it, or
Yeah.
whatever. Invite collaborators, stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
sometimes my stuff gets used, sometimes it doesn't.
Sure. At least they have
But
the option.
yeah, but I'm still tagging them in stuff, and then people can see it.
Right.
So
You mentioned that you had this epiphany when you realized that there was a chance that you were going to be able to hunt the buck of a lifetime.
mm-hmm.
And you boots on the ground, trying to find your way out there. You were trying to elevate your woodsmanship and get yourself into scenarios where you may have otherwise not found yourself and learn. Do you remember a light switch moment for you with that deer specifically? Um, as you were going through that, was there one particular thing where you said, "This is the missing piece"?
um, you're talking about like getting like more like you said, like woodsmanship,
Yeah, when you
like
started
more.
like, digging into the woodsmanship and you realize I'm not shooting this deer off a bait pile like everybody else thinks or does, I'm gonna have to elevate my game to get on that deer. Was there a missing piece as you're trying to put this all together? Was there like, that's it? That's what I didn't know I needed to know, and now I do.
Yes, it was. So as I was trying to put it all together, it was his access to the property.
Hmm.
Okay, so to kind of, I kind of got to go into the story a little bit to kind of so you understand. Like, I
Sure.
got, well, I mean, you've heard the story, but so I got pictures of this deer on September 8th. Was the very first picture. He was hard horned and standing at the corn pile. He wasn't eating at it, but he was standing at it. And then he disappeared for like 5 or 10 minutes and came back. And in the pictures, the first picture I got, he was already there, but it was the way his body was positioned. I had an idea of where he was coming from, but I was like, you know, it's a valley that's got three ridges coming down to it. He could have walked 5 yards on the other side of the camera and cut up one way or the other, or walked down it. And so as I'm going through, like the next day I went out, and as I'm walking out, actually I'm going out to put out that fucking platform that I dropped the bees on, or dropped on the bees. So um as I'm driving, because I backed all the way up there, and I'm looking, and I'm like, it's a big ass scrape right there. And it was sure shit, it was his. When he left, when he walked past the camera and came back, that's what he did. And I mean, there was a bunch of other deer down there. But when I say a bunch, there's probably, so this was September, so they were all, summer patterns, so they were all together. There's probably 5 or 6 other deer down there. And he's like, I'm marking my territory now. Now, fast forward till October 14th was the next picture I got of him. So in that gap, I had note from September 8th to October 14th, I had 0 pictures of him.
How many cameras are you running?
At the time, I was running 2. When I went out the next day, I put out 1 more. By the time I killed him, I had 5.
Okay.
But I rotated I always keep 1 in the bottom and 1 in the top in the same spot. They don't ever move. But the other 3, I was rotating.
Okay.
Now, am I naive to believe that in that time he didn't step on the property? No.
Right.
he's a deer, he's traveling. I'm sure he was still there somewhere. But what I was missing was this, I guess more or less the sign. When I found it was the last camera I put out, and I almost wasn't going to, because I had already had a camera there previously, like for like from that middle of September until probably the first week of October. I actually pulled it opening morning after I shot a doe. I shot a doe at like right after shooting light, got her taken care of, put her in the truck, and then went back scouting. Like I was just like I was back in it. And I pulled that camera and I moved it. Well, a couple weeks later, I'm like, it's starting to get that time. I put out another camera, I moved another camera, and I had one in my backpack. And I walk up over this ridge and I was like, I've already had a camera here. Like, there's nothing going through here. I mean, as I'm panning around, I'm like, oh shit, fresh rubs right there. And that was that, like, you dumbass, he's coming through. Like, not, it wasn't so much like you dumbass. It was like, there's a buck coming through here. Probably throw a camera up. And sure as shit, that evening was the first set of pictures I had of him since September.
Did you from that first picture in September when he was hard horn standing, around the corn pile? Was it him or nothing?
100%. I say that until I had my rutcation scheduled. I think it was like the very first week in November, and if I remember right, without looking at the calendar, I think it was like the 2nd through the 10th or something like that. Is yes, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Sorry, it was the 4th through because the 4th was a Saturday to that following Sunday was in November is when I had scheduled off. And I was like, I'm going to give him until my last day of vacation. So from opening day, October or September 30th until that last day, November. After that, I've got some other deer. We had some other really good deer, but I was like, it's him or bust. There's nothing. I'm not shooting any other deer besides him.
So with that in mind, that September 8th to October 14th period, is there a little bit of panic going on?
Oh, ask my wife. You want to talk about fucking panic? Like, and she says too, like, I was glued to my phone. Like it was to the point where it was like I would stop what I was doing if I got a reveal notification. Like I would literally just mid conversation just stop and look. Fuck, it's not him. Like I was. People say like this deer kept I lost sleep. I did. Like I've got a beautiful wife and 3 amazing kids, but he was the only thing I could think about for, I mean, shit, a month and a half. Like, I mean, obviously I took care of my family, but at the same time, other than that, any other free thought was to him.
Truth be told, that's why you're in the barn. You got kicked out, buddy.
No shit. Yeah,
Listen,
but like,
hindsight being what it is, and the fact that you were successful, do you ever look back, and don't take this the wrong way,
no,
please,
absolutely
because I'm the same way a lot of times. Do you ever look back at that behavior and think it's not appropriate?
yes.
Do you think that do you think, because again, so I'm 43. How old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, so as we get older, we're supposed to be getting wiser, right?
Yeah.
Now, listen, I'm a fucking 43-year-old adolescent, so it doesn't necessarily happen that way. I'm smarter about some things, but I'm just as dumb as I've always been about a lot of things.
Yep.
We're supposed to get better at life. Do you think you will change your behavior as it relates to trail cameras, especially as your kids get older?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. It's this was kind of like that one and done type thing. Like
Maybe.
well, yes, but even my dad and I talked like this year. Don't get me wrong, we're still going to run cell cameras, But last year I had 8 of them, all active with unlimited plans. And I told him, like, dude, like, I don't want to do that again. I was like, yeah, like, so like we like back to we live in Ohio, we bait. Throw a camera up over the corn piles, but let's put cameras up and not put them on like cell plans. Like, let's just, you know, regular old SD card cameras.
Yeah.
In the spots where we're like, hey, the weather's good this weekend, let's go hunt. While we're there, let's pull a card.
100%.
I don't deer do crazy things to people. But look at, without getting into it, look at CJ.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't me. My deer's documented. I shot him on private property, you know, like, but like, I was obsessed. Like, and I'm obsessed with hunting, but I've never been obsessed with a deer like that.
Yeah.
And it was unhealthy. I don't want to do that again. It was cool. I don't want to say it was cool. To put that much just thought into one deer was great for a deer of a lifetime. But I'm not doing that unless it's another deer of a lifetime, which I'm probably never going to have that opportunity. But like, I don't want that. And now that I've kind of done, I shot a gross boom, I shot a double drop time, but you know, the pictures the deer you see on North American whitetail. Now I'm like, okay, your next step is a 200. Right now we ain't got no 200s. So let's get, my wife has hunted, she shot a deer very first opening day, very first time in the shooter stand. Button buck come out and she shot it. And that was years ago. I'm like, it's time to get you back in the woods. My 6-year-old is like, she mentioned something, we were taking him to the processor, and I was like, oh, Dottie, look, there's deer out there. And she was like, oh, maybe I can shoot it. And I was like, huh? I was like, do you want to hunt? She was like, yeah. Because I've taken her in the blind with me and stuff, but she's never even said anything like, oh, I want to shoot a deer. I'm in the headspace now that I want to see other people shoot deer.
Okay.
I want to put other people on deer. I want, like I said, my dad, same thing this year. The outfitter that he hunted with in Wyoming called him and said, hey, we're not even running an outfitting business this year.
Man, that's brutal.
So he's like, so I'm like, good. Let's do our thing now. Let's still plan, you know, you come up for the rut or whenever. Let's do it. Like, I want to see other people not so much have the same opportunity that I have, but I want to be there when people shoot deer.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm more looking forward to now is seeing other people do it. Because I feel like I've had my time.
Well, hell, man, you got a lot of hunting ahead of you. Let's not talk like that. But
I know, but by no means am I going to give up deer hunting. Like,
no.
And everybody's like, oh, it's going to be hard to top that. And I'm like, and I finally just started telling people like, shit, I'm just getting started.
Good. That's a good way to look at it because, you know, my next question is, after shooting a deer of a lifetime, does it change your outlook on hunting big deer, period? Like, would you be satisfied with a lower scoring buck?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, no, now I've kind of like, I do not proclaim to be a big buck hunter whatsoever. You look at my Instagram from the last few years, it's been nothing but 2.5-year-olds.
Yeah.
By no means do I say that I'm out here slaying big deer. I shot one big deer in my life.
Yeah.
Now I want to hunt the oldest deer that I can, or maybe not so much the oldest, but like, I want to go after that next caliber of deer that's in between.
Yeah.
But 130 steps out, he's getting smoked. I ain't gonna say no. But if I want, I want to go after that that older that older age range. That's what I want. I want to try and change my focus to doing that. I want to do more, like, even if I shoot a one whatever, I want the work that I put in to kind of be that once in a lifetime feeling again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I'll still shoot. I always say too, I'll trip over a doe to shoot a buck, or trip over a buck to shoot a doe. I'm
Yeah.
all about shooting does.
I like just the adventure, man. And part of that is for me personally is really getting outside my comfort zone and doing out of state hunts. Like that's just something that I realized was very attainable. Especially where we live, we are surrounded by incredible deer hunting opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting myself in a position to have those adventures as much as possible is critical for me. And so do you have out of state hunting plans at all?
So we have, um, yes. I'm not saying it's going to be this year, but I am definitely going to start branching out. We might have an opportunity at a property in Kentucky,
Okay.
and I'm like hell bent. I want to shoot a velvet whitetail. For so
Interesting.
long, for so long, I was like, why the hell would I want to do that? But now I'm like, all right, I want to do it. I want to do, that you hear about that mule deer hunt out in the Black Hills. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff I want to do. I want to kind of do like even just going like just like you did, go out and hunt public somewhere.
Yeah.
I hunt mostly, pretty much exclusively private, but because that's what I have here in Ohio.
Sure.
I've got plenty
Blame
of
ya.
public. We've got plenty of public, but at the same time, I'm in that mindset that I've got good enough deer that I don't need to travel, and I'm not going to go hunt public because I have this fucking boner that I need to show everybody in my home state. In my home state,
Right.
people
Yeah.
are gonna blah blah blah. Like I said, I've got big enough deer on my properties that keep me off of public and keep me being that asshole walking in with a fucking spotlight while somebody's trying to set up their tree stand. I don't want to
But
be that dude.
but I think the key to that is because a lot of people will say why leave deer to go find deer, but the key is that the deer that you have and are not going to leave are the deer of the caliber that you are hunting.
Correct. Yes.
I am somebody who will leave deer to go find deer because the properties, although good, the properties that I have access to don't always hold the deer of the caliber that I want to hunt. And it's hard for my little brother to hear me say, I'm just not happy hunting here this year. And it's not that I'm not happy hunting. It's what I seek is not found here this year. And that
Correct.
is should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I would think if you've got great deer on your property, you don't want to be running around with us hood rats on the public land doing crazy shit.
But now, like out of state, like absolutely, I'm doing the same thing that everybody else does when they come to Ohio. I'm hitting up public land. I'm not. And I think that'll be kind of like that next challenge that I want would be to like shoot a deer out of state on, like you did, like you put in the work, you scouted stuff like that, like you made trips. Granted, they were work trips, but you made trips out of state, went somewhere and scouted while you were there.
Hell yeah.
And that's kind of like I would like to start doing that more. Now, granted, having 3 kids, 5 to 3 or 5 to 2, it's a little harder. So, um,
It
I
doesn't
do
get
have
any easier. I can tell you that either.
huh?
It's not going to get any easier either.
No.
I can promise you that.
The only thing I can hope is that is that they find just a little bit of they want to hunt too,
Yeah.
and I see it in them that they have like they love to see like they big buck. I've got 3 deer on the wall. and that's what they call the big bucks. The big bucks. Him and then 2 other ones. My first buck, and then my largest deer to date before him. It's like 130 something. But like they see it, like they see me out shooting my bow. They've got little toy bows they want to shoot too. Like I can see it in there, but by no means am I like, you're gonna hunt.
Yeah.
No. So I don't want to. I was that kid that followed my dad's footsteps, walked through the woods, because if I stepped on a stick, I got that fucking turn around and talk through
Yeah.
his teeth, pick up your fucking feet type thing. But I wanted to be there as a kid.
Yeah.
And I hope that they do, but at the same time, if they don't, they don't. I'm not gonna.
And honestly, a lot of times what I've realized is, well, first of all, my son shot a deer, a button buck, at 7 years old, and he didn't like it. Like, he was super excited to shoot his crossbow and get dialed in, and he was super excited to go hunting. He was super excited that he shot that deer, and then when he saw it dead, he didn't like it, and
Yep.
he has not hunted. He has not wanted to hunt with the same gusto that he once had since he witnessed or sort of experienced that I took that animal's life.
Yep.
And so it's more so now like, I just want to hang out with dad. And if that means we go watch him dangle his fat ass off a tree while he hangs a tree stand, or
Yeah.
mows a food plot, or changes cell cams, if they're with you, they're just spending time, and just getting kids outside. Spending quality time outside is so critical these days. There's so much indoor shit that everybody's doing, man. Get your kids outside.
That is like my oldest. Like my kid, it's been only my oldest, but my middle is 3, and that's kind of like that. I feel like that's that threshold. Like, take them out, put them in the blind with me. Are we gonna? We've seen 2 deer. She's 5. She'll be 6 in June. We've seen 2 deer hunting together. But like, she used to go out with me, and I'd hang tree stands, and I would take my backpack, and I would take her tablet, and I would sit her against a tree with her tablet on my backpack where she could see me. And that's what we did. But the takeaway from that was, hey, Dad, I want to go back there because we threw rocks in the creek. She loved that. Like, just carrying her on my shoulders with a bag of corn, or, going to swap out cameras. She thought it was cool. So that, like you said, it's just the making memories. And that is the one thing that, like, I did with my dad, made memories with him. Not the very first, but he took me turkey hunting first before I did anything else. And I just went with him. I didn't have a gun. And he kept saying, like, I kept hearing this noise, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, we'd walk and I'd hear it more. Well, it was me crying, but like trying to muffle it, because my feet, I didn't have waterproof boots. My feet got wet. They got cold, but I didn't want to leave. And he like turned around. And he's like, what are you crying for? I'm like, my feet hurt. He's like, why didn't you say anything? I was like, because I didn't want to go. We're turkey hunting, man. I'm in it. It's one
Yeah.
of those things. Like, I waited so long as a kid to finally get that opportunity. I didn't want to leave.
Yep.
So yeah, and by no means do I want that experience with the kids, but like, I just want them to like go out there with me and put corn out or stuff like that. That's the end. That's really what I want, is those like, hey, Dad, remember when we threw rocks in the creek when I was 5, stuff like that.
Well, what kind of stuff are you working on right now for this year?
Uh, Talking about deer wise,
Whatever. Deer, turkey, your page, your brand, like what kind of stuff you got going on?
man, the page and the brand, I'm just trying to like pump out as mediocre content as I can. I say mediocre, just the best that I can. And like I said, like you said earlier, I'm still learning, so I'm just trying to like film anything, stuff like that. Turkey season, we have Sunday is the last day. It's supposed to rain Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday. Sunday, my wife has this, her and a couple other girls are doing this. It's a Mother's Day event, but it's for women. And they asked me to go out there and film a bunch of content for their page. So I was like, sure. So
Cool.
I'm doing that. Um, Deer season, I'm really getting into mock scrapes.
Okay.
So, well, I say really getting into it. I'm starting to dive into it. With hunting him last year, like it's one of those like I always paid attention to scrapes, but last year I like really dove into them.
Like old people get into puzzles and crosswords. So like in our 30s and 40s, we're getting into mock scrapes and
Mock
rub
scrapes and yeah,
and
rubs, like
control.
yeah. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Just kind of refreshing minerals. Going through doing more or less like scouting for in season later, just because I have that, historic data, like just from hunting the properties, like, I want to kind of get in early and start picking out trees. Like, hey, this ridge was hot in November. Like, I want to find this tree, this tree, this tree, stuff like that.
Hmm.
So just, just living life, just busy.
Yeah. How
Super
is
busy.
work keeping you busy?
Oh, dude.
To where like are you having a hard time, finding time to do your passions?
No, not
Oh,
so
good.
much. And the cool thing is my boss is a big hunter too.
Good.
So like he he gets it. So I don't right now I have a good workload, but like I don't have the workload that some of these other dudes do. So I'm in there, I leave at like 3:30, 4 o'clock every day. Um, so it's not so much keeping me there, but like during the day, it's busy.
Yeah, for sure. I've got well, so we have two corporate offices. One is in Columbus and one is in Newport Beach. I know a lot of people. So, historically, I did not work in Ohio. I worked in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And now I just work in Michigan and Ohio. And so it's like, okay, who do I know within my company that I can reach out to start asking about hunting properties? Because if I'm gonna be in fucking Cleveland, then I need to figure out where I'm going
Yeah,
to start knocking on some doors. So
yeah,
again, it's trying to find time for me to like work my passions into my profession.
yeah.
But that's great that you have a boss who's a big hunter. I don't, and so I don't have a lot of people that I can like, hey man, you want to talk hunting? I can like if we get corporate get-togethers, I think there's maybe two guys that I work with
Yeah,
in the development team that could even relate to anything I have to say. And so we just kind of hang out and talk hunting
yeah.
when we get together. Do you have other people that you work with that are into hunting like you are?
Um, mm, One other guy, he's a hunter too. He's not quite as deep as I am.
Yeah.
Um, so and there's another guy in the office too. Same thing. He's a hunter, mostly a deer hunter, but not. He likes it, but he's not crazy obsessed with it like I am. So
Sorry, I'm like looking at shiny pennies like a squirrel who sees something interesting. Earlier you just a few minutes ago you said something about maybe possibly hunting some public land. Are there like pieces of public land that you have looked at over time and have thought, if I go, I'm gonna go here, or is it kind of like I don't even really think about it?
you're talking about in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mostly because same thing. When I was in college, I had a good family friend that had a bunch of private land that
Mm.
backed up the public.
Okay.
So like I could basically walk through his property and a good bit of it I was hunting on public.
Yeah.
Um, but there's some places down there, but there's also some places that are closer that I'm like it's kind of like one of those like I might go walk it one day.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to hunt it? Maybe not. But you know what? If I've got somebody coming down and they're hunting another piece and they're like, it's not really producing. Like, hey, I walked this summer and I, drop these pins here.
Yeah.
One of
Nice.
those things. So, and that's, and then in October, I've got about 20 guys coming to hunt public land here.
Oh, very cool.
So, like Nick's one of them.
Oh, good.
So, and they're all staying in the barn.
Sweet.
So, yeah. So one of those things, like I've sent some guys some pins, like, hey, there's some hunting pressure here, but like check this place out or
Yeah.
this and that. So I'm not naive to saying that, I don't have good public around me, but
Yeah.
right now I'm just there's a couple that I would say, yeah, I would go there and at least walk
Cool.
around.
Good. Yeah. That's just, when I look at Onyx and all the public land, I'm like, oh my God, this is a daunting task.
Yeah.
These incredible places out here, but it's nice to have those options. Ain't gonna lie about that. Well, listen, without my glasses, looking at about 80 minutes here. I had to squint there with my one good eye. And I sincerely appreciate your time tonight and coming on and chatting. I feel like we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And like you said, even are we twinsies? Maybe.
May not be.
12 years older than you, but that's okay.
It is what it is.
We're still twins.
Yeah.
I would love to do this again. I would love to talk more as we get a little bit closer to season to kind of get a feel for maybe how you're refining a few things right as we get close. When does Ohio season open?
The last Saturday in September.
Oh, okay, nice.
So yeah.
Changes. So the date actually changes a little bit every year, I guess. Yeah, let's definitely plan on doing this again. Especially as we get closer. We can do it. I mean, fuck, we could jump on here anytime you want. I really want to hear, like, as you get a little bit closer, some of the things we mentioned today, how those are looking. And
absolutely.
maybe one of these days when I get down that way, we can meet up and have a chili dog or something. And
brother, you let me know anytime. You're welcome here anytime. You can sleep.
Appreciate that. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
You're vetted, I guess.
Well, I have tattoos. Is it bad? Oh, you have tattoos too. We're good, man. We are totally good. I'll wear my teeth. Everything will be fine.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to, dude. You're good here. You're good.
I appreciate that.
But no, Zack, anytime, man. I appreciate you having me on. And like I said, you ever need it to somebody to talk with, rant, by all means, let me know.
And I appreciate that. I thank you so much. Let everybody know one more time where they can find you.
Lone Bowhunter Chronicles. Type it in on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. That's pretty much where you'll find any and all of my content.
There's probably half a dozen views on that video of me, and 2 of them were today. I watched them today before we decided to before we recorded. So
of me shooting him.
Yeah, I highly recommend everybody go check it out. It's awesome. Make sure you go follow along on his Instagram. It's a great follow. He's a good person. Great content. I know he sold himself short tonight by calling his content mediocre. It is far beyond mediocre. I highly recommend you go follow Zack. And thanks again, Zack, for coming on, man.
Yeah, not a problem, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody who listens. And I know I don't ask this enough, but do me a favor and go over to Apple and leave me a review. I don't even care if it's bad. Just to leave me a review. What do they say? All press is good press. So thanks, everybody, for listening. We will talk to you all another time.